We mentioned these quotes from Pochettino on yesterday's show in case you missed them. After going out the FA Cup, he said, we're going to create a debate that to win a trophy is going to help the club. I don't agree with that. That only builds your ego. In reality, the most important thing is being consistently in the top four and playing in the Champions League. People wish we could win some trophies, but being realistic, we are a team not built to win titles still. Ian, I know this did not go down well with you.
Tottenham Hotspur have a proud tradition in the FA Cup. They've won it 8 times, and they could have had a real go at it this season as well, because some of the big clubs have already been knocked out. But that was a poor effort yesterday and a very, very poor quote from a good manager.
Don't tell some of these journalists, will you, including our Gab. He's not on the day, Gab, and we had a bit of a ding-dong with him yesterday, but you know, I echo what Ian's saying, and I go back to my discussion with Gab yesterday. They're in the Champions League knockout stages. They've got 70 million coming. And it's almost like, well, we're not guaranteed to get in next year. Well, you know, Man United are not guaranteed to get in. Chelsea are not guaranteed to get in. They're in European competitions. Chelsea have got Europa League to play. United's still in the FA Cup. They're in the Champions League. You know, it's all ifs, buts and maybes. If I cross the road, I might get run down with a bus. You know what I mean? I still got to try and do it. It's just nonsense. And the other side of the coin is there's 3 games. They would have to play 3 games before knowing if they're in the top 4. There's 4 games to go if you want to win the FA Cup, 3 games to get to the final. It's hardly like, you know, overload, is it?
No.
I mean, it just don't train.
Steve, what do you make about all of this? Like, from a player and the coach?
I'll tell you, if I'm a fan of Tottenham Hotspurs, I'm looking at my season ticket book and wondering what to do with it. You know, your sensible fan understands that to win the league title probably is going to be too far with this squad. But don't ram it down the throat. Your smart fan thinks, you know what, why would the club not just pick one of the trophies and try and get it for us, for the fans? I want to be a fan of a team that tries to win a trophy for you. And he's turning around and saying, look, quite frankly, we're not really interested in what the fans want. All we want is to be in the top 4. We're never going to win the title, but we'll get in the top 4 and that's good.
And I think we're glazing over, I think, even a bigger factor, and that is, what are you trying to tell your players? The mentality side of, hey, we want to win every game, we want to win as many trophies as we can, is a mentality that sort of can trickle down as players come into the team and basically create a culture. So if you're telling your players, it's okay right now, we don't need to win a trophy, all we need to do is make sure we're in the top 4. So when we go and play Liverpool, when we go and play Manchester City, we don't necessarily need to win. We get a point, right? We don't lose distance too much. But that mentality gets you unprepared for other games. You need to make sure that you're trying to win every single game. You're trying to win as many trophies as possible. And in no means do you ever come out in public and say it's not important.
It's the top 4. Obviously, it's a rhetoric that Arsene Wenger started.
They've got a 7-point gap.
Continue here. They're 7 points ahead of us.
Do you know, there's a little piece of me thinking that he's maybe covering his backside. Everybody said so many good things about this guy since he went to Tottenham. There's never been anything bad at all, ever. He's never won a thing, and yet, even now, you've got journalists who are still patting him on the back. Is he beginning to think, well, hold on a second, am I going to get the Man United job, or am I going to get the Real Madrid job if it's the club's fault and not mine? Is he sticking his nose out and saying, by the way, just for Real Madrid and United or any other big teams, this is not my fault, I'm actually a good coach, the system that we use at Tottenham is holding me back? Is there a little piece of you thinking that at all?
I just get the feeling and we talked about it yesterday, I just get the feeling with Pochettino, with a lot of people, they can't wait to roll out the red carpet with the excuses. It's just, there always seems to be something, and they can't wait to put it out. And let me give you an example. And we were back, I'll move it on to Arsene Wenger, North London and Arsenal, which I think is quite relevant. And a lot of people were on Wenger's case for a while. But if you look at the recent history for Arsenal, they missed out in the Champions League last year, but apart from that, they were in it every year, right? But yet they've won the FA Cup final. They've won the FA Cup 3 times in the last 5 or 6 years. And only last year was the year when they beat Chelsea that they didn't get to the Champions League. They got in the Europa League. The other 2 times, They managed to win the FA Cup and get to the Champions League. Oh, and what was the talk at Arsenal at the time? The new stadium, the budget, we can't quite match the rest. So where's the difference? Wenger was managing to get them in the top 4 mainly and win the FA Cup. But yet for Pochettino, it's, oh, well, you can't blame Mauricio Pochettino because he's not got the budget of Man City and, you know, he's got some injuries. I don't really remember that excuse being rolled out for Arsene Wenger.
Final word on this from you, Ian?
Well, I just think Tottenham will recover from this. I mean, Dele Alli and Harry Kane will be fit by March, but I don't know where Tottenham will be by then. I think they're a good side, but the fact that they're a good side means they really should have been having a proper crack at the FA Cup this season. It was a real chance to get a trophy at last and maybe silence a few critics. And the draws come out tonight. They would have been drawn away to Doncaster Rovers in the next round of the FA Cup. That kind of underlines the point Craig was making. It was there for the taking, and it was all just very, very odd, I think. And I think he might regret those quotes after the game saying it doesn't matter, basically.